Well, we're back from the break. You're watching Smart Means Business, 27 minutes to the top of the hour, and we're into our last half of the Smart Means Business show, Mondays to Friday from 6:30 a.m. to 9:50 a.m. We are going to our on-ground conversations. Barija Andrew did have conversations rotating around a specific topic, and that is most to say, he has more of the insight inside that particular conversation. Bariji, which conversation and what specifics did you look at in the on ground this time around?
Well, more of looking into the automation industry in Uganda.
Okay.
You see, we come to realize that like in the East African bloc, we seem to be a little bit really highly competitive. Looking at how we are performing, because some of our auto-related products are really embraced towards the East African, the entire East African globe. But definitely, that is not really enough. There is a need to ensure how best can we have strategic partnerships to make sure that we take this to a whole new level. But the most important aspect here is the consistency in this. It will be really quite a shame for us to have something running for just 1, 2, 3 years, and before you know it, somebody asks, what happened to this? Dying just like that and resurrecting it might be really a great. So strategic partnerships, and also the aspect of consistency in the automotive industry.
All right, let's get that from the on-ground conversations.
So the automotive industry, one, is crucial in any economy. But the uniqueness of this industry is that we've got brands now that are popular, such as Mercedes-Benz, Nissan, Subarus, Suzuki. So these brands have come into this industry after the introduction of Toyota. However, with the manufacturing of vehicles now in Uganda, this has really created a niche market and a niche interest in the automotive industry. Some of the challenges that this industry has faced is the uncontrolled importation of used vehicles. So with Walusimbi's garage mainly importing new vehicles, we have seen a huge competition and also a huge taxation on new vehicles. So that has been a challenge for us. In addition, Uganda is a landlocked country. So we face a lot of import taxes and duties that are not only are passed on to the clients, but are also a huge expense for us as we import new vehicles into the country. Another challenge that we've had in this industry is, as we know that we're all coming out of COVID. So a lot of our clients are government organizations, and government organizations take a little while to pay, so that has been detrimental to our day-to-day operations, as it's really hard to keep up with the costs of maintaining our business as well as maintaining quality staff if we're not able to keep up with our day-to-day financial operations. So sometimes government LPOs take 30 days. However, realistically, sometimes we've had to wait for some payments for 2 to 3 months, or even sometimes 6 months. So that's been really hard to manage and operate a business on a day-to-day basis. The beauty of the automotive industry is that there is demand for it. And a lot of sometimes supply is low, so that's why the market keeps growing. That's why we have a lot of businesses springing up here and there, small ones, large ones. And even though they're not, huge auto dealerships, we have a lot of new businesses due to those reasons. But one of the things that I tell people, just like any business, one of the things is that you have to do the market research. While the demand is there, but we also have to research the vehicles that are being mostly bought on the market and the vehicles that have higher demand, but also what is the market telling us? For example, this year we've heard that the government isn't necessarily buying a lot of brand new vehicles anymore. So there's a challenge. But if one keeps up with research, they will be able to find such information out, so you don't haphazardly start a business just because there is demand. Also, one of the other things is do a business plan. With market research, you can follow that with a business plan, because sometimes you may find that the resources and what you are thinking would be needed for this particular business is not necessarily what would work for another business that you thought you had in mind. A lot of times people go into business because they have a little bit of capital, but there are a lot of things that need to be considered in this industry, because we need to keep up with stock. Are you going to be selling new vehicles? Are you going to be selling used vehicles? Also, are you going to be selling parts? Are you going to be offering after-sales service? So those are the things that people need to look into, so that they can be intentional and purposeful in going into the business that they choose to in the automotive industry, whether that's selling new vehicles, whether that's service, or offering transportation services. According to the Ministry of Finance, Ugandans spend more than 2.5 trillion Ugandan shillings in this industry. So that's a huge contribution to economic development for the country. The beauty of the automotive industry is that a lot of sectors benefit from this industry, all the way from the manufacturers, from the factory, the person that's designing the vehicles. They've got a lot of work to do in designing a vehicle every single year. How are they going to improve it? That's the goal of every automotive industry, is to improve and have the best vehicle and get the awards every year. So the person who's designing, to the person who takes that design to the next level, to the person who manufactures it in the factory, the factory workers, and let's talk about the salespeople in that particular manufacturing facility. And then when it gets imported, the people that work at the bonded warehouses, the people that have to receive these vehicles, to the people that have to drive the vehicles to where they need to be stored before they are delivered to where they need to be. And then it comes to us, an entity like a dealership. There are a lot of people also who benefit from that vehicle. From that vehicle being brought here, the salespeople have to go out and find, the business. They get commission off of, getting that business. But then what about the managers also? That's also job security. The more the vehicles we bring in, the more business we do. That's also job security for those of us who have to run these operations. And then the mechanics who do the after sales service work. They're also benefiting from that. The receptionist, the person who cleans the facility, also benefits from that. And as the vehicle goes out out on the road, the people who work at the gas stations, think about that. They also benefit from this industry. So the industry, the effects and the benefits snowball all the way from the designer to the person who's consuming and who's using this vehicle. One of the challenges that we face in the automotive industry is, the double taxation. These vehicles are taxed as they're waiting to be sold, at the same time that we also get taxed when the vehicle gets sold. So it's like having, a clothing store. Let's say I have a merchandise store, and taxing my merchandise while it's waiting to be sold to my client. So that's double taxation in this industry, and often these taxes are very high. So we've found, a huge challenge, especially in new vehicles.
Automotive industry, most of these companies, they do import those vehicles free of tax. So they import those motor vehicles without paying taxes. So they are given a grace period of 6 to 9 months to clear the taxes. So what they normally do, you the buyer, you come, you choose a particular vehicle. Let's say you want a Raum. So they tell you, you are going to pay such and such an amount, then you pay such and such tax. So that is conventionally, that's what they do. But the only challenge now, certain vehicles have been prohibited from entering the country before they pay tax. For example, vehicles that whose date of manufacture are from 2008, 2009, 2008 and 2009. You are supposed to pay taxes in Mombasa or Dar es Salaam, port of entry. That is Mombasa, Dar es Salaam. So in that scenario, this trader whose only business is motor vehicles is bound to lose. Because the moment you pay the taxes, you automatically get the number plate. Let's say UBN. Right now it is UBN. So when you pay the tax in Mombasa, you get UBN. But remember, you are in that business, you also want to sell it to another person, to a client. So you put it in your bond. You just not warehousing, but you parade it in your bond. Then you wait for a customer, but a customer can come for that motor vehicle after like 3 months, when there is almost 2 number plates have passed on. So in that perspective, it is an old motor vehicle automatically, despite being in board. So that's how they are losing business. Now, what I advise them to do, just because of the low customer turnover, I just encourage them to import vehicles that are beyond 2009, that is 2010. Which vehicles can be given that period, a warehousing period of 6 to 9 months. And actually, right now it is 6 months. The extension URA, because actually at first you were given 6 months, then you can extend to 9 months. But right now they are given only 6 months, you cannot extend. So at least they can utilize those 6 months to look for customers to come and buy. But for vehicles of 2008, 2000 and 2009, the moment you import and you get a number plate, by the time you get a client, it is an old vehicle whose value has depreciated. If it was selling at 24 million, but after 3 months, just because two number plates have passed on it, then that means it goes to 20 million. You get? So my appeal to URA for vehicles within that range of 2008-2009, I just request them at least to comply within the law, the East African Community Management Act, because for it provides for 6 months and an extension for 9 months, an extension of 3 months to 9 months. I just add that URA can look into that business such that our traders can still maintain their business. They will utilize the law as it is of 6 months. 6 months and then an extension of 9 months, just as the law stipulates.
Well, very interesting insight in there regarding that's the automobile industry. Of course, the taxes, seeing that double taxation regarding that, and quite lots of so many other effects that the dealers are facing as a result of that. But of course, before getting in there, we get to realize that in Uganda we have our locally made vehicles, of course, by the famous Kira Motors in there. So now talking about this aspect of the taxation, and it's a little bit something which may always be there, definitely, as long as you are importing that one. By all means, it's not gonna, it's not going to be avoided in a way. But what if we have strategic partnerships and ensure that we take our brand to a whole new level, whereby the government can subsidize these manufacturing plants? Because if we manufacture and produce at a low cost to the Ugandans first, we're going to be reducing on the health risks that are related with the vehicles that are coming in from other countries, definitely, because they come a bit of a second hand. These are two ways. Low cost, that means less taxes, because the more the taxes are levied on these vehicles, it's still coming back to the Ugandan that is buying them, and also you, the person that is dealing, you'll have to be forced to increase the prices for you to get back your profit in a way. Jeremy, looking into this very matter, just in your brief opinion, what do you really partake of this? What do you have to say about, the taxes in the automations? Because when I look at our domesticated, the fact that we have the ability to make actually June 2023, Kira Motors, Dr. Musonero last year said is when officially the plant will become now official.
Well, first of all, when you look at the automotive business, let's get back to the African context. I've been looking here, when you look at South Africa, for example, pretty much one of the most growing automotive, if that is the right pronunciation.
Yes.
Automotive world and everything. You look at how South Africa is moving very fast.
Very fast, yeah.
Kenya, on the other hand, last year started a program of putting up, for example, electric charging ports. Because they want to at least have electric vehicles coming into the market. So this is something that we should be looking at. Uganda. But of course, from our own perspective, we are looking at Kira Motors as the champion of this particular industry. And we do look like we are going in the rightful direction.
I really think so, because there are two aspects in here. There is money you're going to pay, the taxes, and on top of that, the health. And you know that any country whereby if the citizens really spend a biggest percentage on healthcare, that country, it's really not easy for them to really prosper, because why am I talking about health? Some of these vehicles come, they're second hand and they are not really healthy in a way. The emission, they're being imported in here for the people to buy. That really hurts. I'm paying money, a lot of money. I'm exploited, but at the same time, I'm buying a disease, which is also another economic liability. So, in that way, if we have our originally manufactured vehicles and the electric vehicles, and we know that they are authentic in a way, we are cutting away the two. But that is on condition that the government really subsidizes our champion, that is Kira Motors, to pioneer this move.
All right, and of course, as Kira Motors, as we look at Kira Motors as the champion of the automotive industry in Uganda, but also how ready is our market for them. Ugandans are really ready. Most of the Ugandans really want cheaper things. But I don't think the automotive industry does provide an option for that.
If subsidized, really, because I see there is quite a strong hand of government in Kira. That would be a little like say the TV Sembule, was it Sembule? People used to have them. Actually, my grandmother had one of those TVs, and they were okay.
Just like the Alipo speakers here.
Alipo, yes. People are buying them, and they are good.
Anyway, so we know that will be another move to at least see a development in the country. We've been doing the Smart Means business today with Barite Andrew, of course, big time, and we were joined by Penson Mumbe in the long run for a few discussions here and there. But for all of you who have been part of us from where we started, many thanks for being part. It is Monday, the 27th of February. Tomorrow will be the 28th, which means it will be the last day of the month. So it does seem like for the past 4 years, people who were born on the 29th of Feb have not celebrated their birthday.
But that's a whole new mystery. I want to understand how this really came about, that the fact that we have a day missing in a month, it's mysterious. Where did it come from?
If it's a leap year, I think.
A leap year.
But I think these are times when a Kampala woman who was born on the 29th of February will be really happy for 4 years staying in the same age. But anyway, someone once told me that the age you're not celebrating the age that you're going through. Every time we hit our birthday, we have to look back. We are celebrating. It's not celebrating. We are thanking God for the previous. Yes. So
actually, for the previous year.
But in most cases, we say happy birthday, for example, 30-year birthday to me. Yet, it's more like it's better to say thank you for 29
for the 29 years back. I think
let's hit really the 30th year. Exactly. But anyway, Smart Means business comes to an end till tomorrow. We have 8 minutes to the top of the hour. Coming up is Financial Markets with Anthony Sebali. We wish you a fruitful week ahead, a blessed one, a happy week. May you make some good money and stay safe, and make sure that the month of March finds you in a well-positioned place for you as an individual business person. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. I've been with Barija Andrew. Till tomorrow, good morning.